Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to say Kalam Yahweh Bashim Al Shai Bashim Al Kodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who do rule and teach well. And honors to the brothers, persons, truth, across the four corners, all sincerity. Does upon it, checking in with another video. We're willing to be edifying to the hopeful elect. So we'll make it pretty brief. I was just kind of thinking, and I was just like, I did a lot of videos on the Motb, but I wanted to kind of look at it on like the shorts level, like on YouTube and shit. Because typically, when it comes on to Motb, I've been like pulling news articles of things like that of new patients who have taken it, things like that. But this thing is all over, man. It's all over. It's all on the YouTube and everything. If you look it up on Google, you just look up human implantable microchip news, you'll get a bunch of hits. Stuff will come up. All right, so you're definitely moving into those times where this thing, is getting pushed out, but will soon be made mandatory in the midst of Jacob trouble being in full swing, which is the hour of temptation. All right, and then not too long ago, I spoke about China having, like they had a Harvard scientist who was studying in the U.S. like the fact that China, he's doing a lot of research on BCI, brain computer interface, and all that stuff, which is the Motb. Right, like that connection between your brain and the computer and stuff like that. Not to go like too far in depth. So we're just gonna play the video. We're gonna get like Revelation 13:16. We're gonna run through it. All right.
Planted an RFID chip into my hand. User discretion advised, but here are the details. I purchased the RFID implant from dangerousthings.com. This is a dual chip RFID NFT implant kit. It comes pre-sterilized with all of the implant tools and instructions that you need to do it yourself at home. All it took was a little bit of convincing and a couple of beers, and my buddy was ready to perform surgery. At the end of the day, surgery was a success. Call me crazy, but the possibilities are endless, and I can't wait to see what future projects I work on with this thing.
All right, cool. So we're gonna go get the precept. All right, so man, there's just no way when you see things like that, man. It just goes to show that, man, elders and the apostles on they're right, man, about what the Motb is, all through the Makah Kodash, all through Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, man. Right, they're right. All right, that's the Motb is the implantable microchip. All right, so Revelation 13:16. All right. Because all both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in the right hand or in the forehead, right? So he calls it, who's the he? Read up a little bit further on. It's basically going into the beast, which is going into America, NATO, and the EU. All right, the beast with the 7 heads, the 10 horns. All right, America, NATO, EU. Just roughly kind of going over it. All right. So small and great, your average worker, the rich, the great, rich and poor. Once again, those who are not celebrities, those who are not, well known, and those who are well known, those who are rich, those who are elite banking families, and all these people, right? They're gonna be caused to take it. All right. It's going to be soon being made a mandatory thing. It's going to be a government issued mandate. Okay. Like I've been looking all on YouTube. You have different people in business who have already taken it. Right. But it's just not mandatory right now. They're just doing it out of their own, just out of love of the game. And you got a lot more jigs. Well, not a lot more. Well, people I've seen, like, they were like Edomites. So there's probably a bunch of jigs out there probably taking that shit. But when this thing starts to be, pushed out more in a commercial sense, man, a lot of jigs are gonna take it. A lot of jigs are gonna take it, man. Right? Because here they could play video games with their head, with their brain, or they don't have to wait online or whatever. You got the fucking weed commissary and all that shit, and jig gonna flock to it, right? So it's even mark on the right hand on their forehead, right? So go to that word mark, the word mark, 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 charagma, right? So stamp, print, mark, right hand, badge of the followers, the Antichrist, which there is no the Antichrist. When you go into that precept, it pretty much goes into how anyone that speaks against Yahushua is an Antichrist. So there are multiple Antichrists. What does Antichrist mean? Against, the anointed, right? Against Yahushua, right? So, I mean, all these other camps pushing false doctrines, Antichrist. These false Christians, Antichrist. Vocab, Antichrist. So there's no the Antichrist. There's multiple Antichrists. That's another topic for another day. But yeah. So why did I do that? So yeah, you gotta go to a charagma. To get the full understanding, you gotta break it down further. Goes to Karax, a pale steak or salad, a pale or a steak or a palisade, right? Something that's sharpened, something the idea of scratching, right? What is that going into? The fact that it has to puncture the skin, right? You see that guy, right? The Edomite, he had his buddy, like, cut him open pretty much. Cut open, it go through the dermal layer, right? To insert, dermal means skin, by the way. So you have to cut through the dermal layer with an incision to implant the device through his skin, or subdermally. Sub means below dermal skin, so below skin, right? And you know, and the guy was taking it was so excited. He's like, "Oh, I can't wait to see what new projects I get to do." And it's just like, man, like when this thing really starts to get marketed, and they say, "Look, you got this new bank currency. Guys flock to this stuff now. You don't gotta wait online. It's amazing." People are gonna go ahead and do it, right? So yeah, they don't gotta carry wallets no more to fill with writing. So we go further and he goes to graph full of writing, which is going into data. All right, it's going into data. Something inserted that carries data. All right, and no man might buy or sell save he that the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. All right, so say that no man might buy or sell. All right, how are no man gonna be able to buy or sell without having Motb? What do people need to buy and sell? You need to have currency. All right, which of course back in ancient world, cattle, silver, gold, uh, things like that were the currency of the times, were like symbols of power. Nowadays, the rulership of this damn devil, these things are run by fiat, you know, um, American dollars and things like that. Right? Fiat currency, lead himself with thick clay, thick debt, like it says in Habakkuk, the second chapter, right? Um, so yeah, so say he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name, right? So no man could buy or sell except he that had the mark. Why? Because it's going to be tied to a new central bank digital currency, right? And that post was from 2 years ago. So man, it's just like when this thing just needs to just be, this needs to just be. It's just going to be made, more and more out there. When it gets pushed more and more out there, perhaps on a commercial base before they force it and mandate it, and then people are gonna flock to it, man. All right, but regardless, in those days when Jigga Control is in full swing, our temptation is there. right? The fact that you will be able to make money or to buy goods and services without it is gonna really make a lot of people fall for it and go ahead and take it. Right? So yeah, you know, so to get that mark or the name of the beast, which is the vibration of the system, that you follow in the system, you love America and all this shit. Right? Which if you love America, what you gonna do? What you gonna do if you love America? You're gonna take it, right? If you worship the beast, right? Um, the beast system, right? And you worship the image of the beast, you know, it's pretty much recreation of the Roman Empire revived, right? You're gonna take the Motb. You're gonna do exactly what they tell you, right? Because even on the level that people in the military, man, like they take whatever the government tells them to take, right? And then they use the same playbook on the people, right? The people take whatever the fucking government tells